Hi everybody, it is Stacy personally, and today I just picked some sorrel. It is December 20th, Friday, December 20th, 2024, here in beautiful, always warm Jamaica. And trust me, this time of year is exceptionally warmer than usual in December. It's just 5 days until Christmas and no Christmas breeze so far. But right now I decided to just set up this video partly to just talk and capture some of what I am saying while I pick all of this sorrel, which reminds me that I left my implement. So let me pause for a cause and I'll be right back. I'm back. And so my implement for today is this old umbrella stick or handle, if you want to call it, to remove the seeds from the sorrel. And I'm just gonna quickly show you how that's done. I did find this on YouTube somewhere on YouTube, and so it's pretty simple. You just attach. This is a little bit smaller than I like in terms of the hole here, but it still works. And you kind of just twist it, push, voila. Yeah, and as you can also see, it's a very short handle, so the video that I had seen it on, they would just go and put several of them on here, you know, and just keep going and going. But yeah, this is a little bit short for me to do that. And I just remember that I also left my gloves. What do I mean? Some variety of Brussels or sorrel, as we call it in Jamaica, some variety do have some kind of thorns on it, some kind of juky something. And so I find that it's best for me to work in these kind of gloves. These are cloth, you know, so they can still probably penetrate a little bit, but it still offers me some protection, so I don't mind using it, as opposed to my heavy duty gardening gloves. So I have a whole heap of sorrel to get through, and so I decided to just allow the recording to go while I do that and talk and reflect on life and being back in Jamaica for 1 year. 1.5 years almost. I left Japan 1 year and 7 months ago, but I'm back in Jamaica now for 1.5 years. So it's a good time to just kind of reflect. I'm doing all this talking and not working. Lord help me. Yeah, so it's a good time for me to just reflect on my time being back in Jamaica. If you saw that first video that I made about 6 months since being home, you would know that I went through quite a bit of shock. I'm not shocked by most things anymore. I am a lot saddened, disappointed, and just reminded that, okay, I can see why Jamaica is a developing country and my expectations need to be adjusted while we work towards becoming a developed country. So the noise is not as bothersome anymore. The heat still bothers me, so I still kind of go around with my umbrella, but it's not as intense as when I just came, you know, especially I guess because I've been working in my garden almost every day, so the heat has kind of just penetrated my body and I'm becoming accustomed to it. Oh, and so all this sorrel, the sorrel is kind of late because I planted it late because I was away in the States for most of the summer. So when I came back, the sorrel was planted in kind of late August, and it should have been planted from about July to really allow the seedlings to come up. And you know, if I wanted to sell them as I planned to, I would have been able to catch the Christmas masses and have a lot more to offer. Incidentally, I guess a workman or a landscaping assistant was asking me if I was selling them because he saw me picking them this morning. And I said, yes, but limited supply, and I don't even have enough for those who are interested. You know, so far I have not even made any sorrel for myself. So I really don't know what is going to happen. Today someone was supposed to come, still expected to come to experience picking sorrel for themselves. But what I did, because I know the process takes a while, I picked most of them and left a couple rows for them. It's a pity I can't show you what those rows look like, but if you check my channel somewhere, you will see a garden tour which will have evidence of the sorrel that has been growing, right? So they're not as bushy as last year, you know, because last year I planted them so close together that they couldn't breathe properly. This year I planted them much farther apart, and now I can walk between the rows. I can walk between the plants. So yes, I'm here back in Jamaica. I am finally on a break from work, but really it's not a break to relax at all, because I am still swamped with essays to mark, which I am way behind on this time. Last year I was much farther along, and it's a bit of a challenge for me, you know. So I have to figure out how next semester is going to work out. Yes, so back to being in Jamaica after a year and a half, and dealing with one of the other major things for me was the transportation system. I want to say I've gotten used to it, but that is not entirely true. What I have done, by God's grace and favor, is I have been able to travel with my uncle for a large part of the first semester. He has been carrying me to work, and I've been finding my way home most of the times. He had actually just probably a month or so ago, met in an accident, a minor accident that caused some damage to the vehicle. But at that same time, JUTC, which is the Jamaican Urban Transport Corporation that provides public transportation in Jamaica, they had just launched a premium bus from my community, directly from my community, but only operational during the peak hours. So I would catch that bus at 5:50 a.m. 5:50 a.m. just to ensure I was able to travel comfortably, even though work started at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. respectively. So it means that I got to work from 7 o'clock and would have an hour or 2 hours to wait before work started. This really took a toll on my body physically, you know. Even though I would try to go to bed early, I just started to become like a robot, you know. But it's still much better than me struggling to get a taxi from where I am to go to Spanish Town or to go to Greater Portmore, and then try and get another bus or another vehicle from there to get to work. So the sacrifices are real. I can now see why so many people have cars in Jamaica, and there are not enough roads in Jamaica, and as a result the congestion during peak hours is real. And I am really struggling with that because I don't like traffic. I tell my little cousin that I am allergic to traffic. So I try my best not to be out during traffic. Worse if rain falls. If you know Jamaica, once the rain falls, it's like everything is crawling, nothing is moving. So I've been dealing with the transportation system as best as I can. I understand it more now, and so I am a lot more patient with it, and I try to plan around it. What this means is once I am on the road, anything that I need, I try and get it. Even though most times I'm so tired, I just want to get home, but I really try and get whatever it is I need to get before coming home, because once I am home I don't want to leave my house, just because of how terrible the transportation is and the amount of time I would end up wasting waiting on a taxi. And I must confess, depending on the time of day, I can get taxis faster than other times. So I'm still learning about that as well. Right now, I have to touch on this one because I used to, before I left here, you know, food in Jamaica was pretty cheap. When I say food, I'm talking about our local produce, our natural, you know, fruits and vegetables and root crop. Pretty cheap, pretty decent, you know. And while I was in Japan, I would always talk about, man, food in Japan is so expensive and so on and so on. But being back home now, food in Jamaica compared to Japan, food in Jamaica is more expensive. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, the food here is more expensive. And I know that Japan has all kind of programs where they subsidize for their farmers and so on. In Jamaica, farmers get support, but not as much as they need because we have so many natural disasters. Mostly rain, you know, tropical storms, hurricanes, those severely affect our ability to grow food, and they damage the crops, and you know, the recovery time is long because you can't speed up growing banana and yam and those things and vegetables. You just have to wait. And so whatever little is on the market, I wear jacket and tie. So expensive, so expensive. People don't even marry things anymore. I don't see that happening anymore because things are just so expensive. You're either going to buy it or you're not going to buy it, you know. So that is something that I have observed. And as I've been farming farming or gardening, you know, just like how I said, I'm not a YouTuber, but I make videos and put them on YouTube. I'm not a farmer, but I grow small crops like sorrel, tomatoes. I just started sweet pepper, but I'm not really growing them to sell per se, just for personal use, you know, and I enjoy coming out to my garden to pick them. But from growing, I have been able to empathize more with farmers because too much rain, you can lose the crop. Too little rain, you can lose the crop, you know. And usually we have them outdoors, not in any greenhouse, as you know some parts overseas do. And so we are really exposed to the elements, right, in our gardening efforts. And it's not easy to set up farming greenhouses large enough for the kind of volume we want to produce. And so, you know, I understand now why the food prices are so expensive, you know. So that is something for us to deal with, and I am more understanding. Oh Lord, this man will people right here, so you never hear my voice. Jesus. Anyway, let me ignore him. So the workman is peeping. Still on my neighbor's property still, but anyway, let us continue. All right, so food prices are expensive, but thankfully we have you know, we have what do you call it? member stores, like member only stores, like in the States, you know, you have BJ's and you have Costco. Well, in Jamaica, we have Price Smart, which is very similar and in fact carries some of the same products or brand, like BJ's or Costco, you know. So I tend to buy bulk, which I used to do in Japan as well. Even though it's me alone, I still prefer to buy in bulk, like onion, garlic, Irish sweet potato. When I say bulk, because it's me alone, the serving size is really large, so I can't complain about that too much. But it also means I have to plan. I really have to plan about my spending as well. And on that note of planning, I am still part-time at work, so when I'm not working, I am. Hi, morning.
Can't get Sorrel through to come home.
No, sir. This is Sorrel you already pay for, and not even enough.
Alright.
Yes.
Alright, though.
Yeah, man. You go and do me like a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now be nice to them pick up, you know?
Me understand, man. Me understand very well. All right, take it easy. Yes, so that was the landscaper who has come to sort out my neighbor's yard. Like him just see me and ask if him can get some sorrel juice. Anyway, so where was I? All right, so I talked about the food. I talked about the transportation. Oh dear. All right, you know something I realized. So mind you, I was never big on going out, like going to different places, because I love staying home and I always have so much to do that I don't really think about going out. But now I realize that even though I desire to go out, the transportation system is so bad and I can't afford to be Ubering all over the place, that I still know just stay home. But one evening when it was, you know, as as sunset comes earlier, you know, during the winter season, I was going home late, and the park, one of our national parks in Kingston, the capital city, was quite illuminated, and immediately I thought of Japan. And I'm like, you know, this probably has always been going on in Jamaica. We don't have it as much as Japan, where all the streets are, or all the major streets are illuminated in some way. But we have it here in Jamaica. But because it's so difficult for me to get around without my own vehicle, so yes, I still don't have my own vehicle, because it's so difficult to get around, I don't experience some of the things that are in Jamaica that I experienced in Japan, you know. So yeah, but we have illumination here too. Not that, don't make it seem like I'm so off now, you know, but yeah, I knew there was some. But like I said, Japan, because of the size of Japan and the population, and you know, it's so much easier to see these things that I don't see readily in Jamaica unless I go to the capital or to another major city or like a tourism area, you know. So those things, I have been thinking about them. Okay, so I had to take a quick break to respond to some messages that were coming in on my phone, which was not beside me at the time. So back to picking sorrel. Forgive me, I don't remember where we left off. And whatever sound you're hearing in the background, like trucks, I'm not sure what is being worked on, but something is being worked on the main road behind me. Yes, so we were talking, as I'm here picking sorrel, so many people want sorrel, and because my sorrel is late, you know, I don't even know. Normally, I would just give away a few. No, let me say that again. There's no normally. This is my second year doing the sorrel. Last year, I gave away a lot of sorrel, and normally I would just full the bag and just give them away with the seeds. So persons would have to take out the seeds for themselves. But this year, the plan was to sell the sorrel, still give away some, but to sell it. So if I'm going to sell it, I have to take out the seeds. Which I don't mind, especially since doing this, using this umbrella stick does help me to move faster, and it's kind of relaxing. I use my gardening to relax a lot. And I'm thinking, why? Because it is work, it is physically demanding work, mind you. But whether gardening or doing puzzles or watching a movie, those things don't demand any or not a lot of cognitive engagement. And so I find I use them to relax as well as to avoid doing other tasks that I probably need to do, right? So right now it is quite relaxing. It is taking time, as you can imagine, but I'm not minding at all. I feel like I'm getting something done amidst all that I have to do. And so yeah, I'm just doing that. All right, so let's get back to talking about Japan and me being back home and the whole gardening experience. Oh, I see what is happening. The trucks are actually clearing the bramble and overgrown weeds that are at the perimeter wall against where I am. And I'm happy. It's Christmas time, so that's what's been happening. Can I talk about the government? Lord of mercy. So mind you, I have greater understanding and appreciation for the need to clear things and to clean up weeds and overgrown bushes and so on, but because to rent any kind of equipment is a lot of money, so you don't want to do it for any kind of small overgrowth, because it is so costly and we are on a limited budget for everything. And so they tend to wait until things really pile up before they get it cleared, which is makes economic sense, but when we are in the rainy season, it does more harm than good, because when we take so long to clear whether debris or overgrowth, the drains get blocked up because they take so long to, even once it is cut or cleared away, to move it from the area, it takes another long time, and so whatever is washed back into the drain and all that. But I'm saying that to say I understand a lot more since coming home and having to take care of my yard, my house by myself. Even if it wasn't by myself, but I still understand, because when the yard is not overgrown, but when the yard is bushy and it needs to be cut, or when I have to be walking high or stepping high, as I like to say, because the weeds are so high in the yard, then it has to be cut. But it is actually a lot more work when the weeds are so high, for me, because I do it myself. But at the same time, you don't want the weeds to be that low and you're cutting it because you're using gas, and I guess energy and effort as well. But it's a lot of decision making that goes into it. because like during this winter season, you know, or from the rainy seasons and actual rains, the weeds need cutting like every 3 weeks, you know. But during the summer months, you can go for like a month or two or more without needing to cut because the place is so dry, actually, you know. So I can understand some of the decisions that the government makes, but then sometimes it just makes, most times it makes no sense. And yeah, so like I observe how Japan operates when they are fixing their roads, you know. The whole place isn't impeded. There's still the allowance of traffic to flow freely. But here in Jamaica, cheese and peas, you either have to drive around or you have to be prepared to be in very, very long lines. And it's because, one, we don't have, I want to say the money. We don't have the resources like that. We don't have the expertise. Yes, we do have the expertise, but they are in short supply. Can I say that? They're in short supply. We don't have the equipment like that. We just take longer to do everything. I don't know why. Like, we operate in the middle of the day or like during our peak hour traffic, which makes no sense. And then they talk about productivity is lacking in the country, and then they don't pay us well, you know. While in Japan, they tend to do things when there's less traffic on the road, which makes sense, and they move quickly, and they have the lighting set up and everything. And you know, now something I found out recently, because I listen to the radio a lot, I don't have a TV, still don't have no TV, so I listen to the radio a lot. And so, you know, everybody on the call-in radio programs, everybody's talking about the bad roads, the bad roads, the bad roads. And so what I learned is that the, what they call it again, what the thing used to patch the roads, not the marl, the top, what is that? I can't remember. Who am I not remembering? That black thing that is used to fix the roads, to pave the roads, right? That is produced as a byproduct of some petroleum from our Petrojam gas station. Petrojam petroleum company, right? It is produced as a byproduct of them refining the gas or something. Anyway, the point is, it has to be used hot, right? There's no set schedule or organization between Petrojam and those who are fixing the roads to say, okay, on Thursday we're going to, it's almost like whenever it is created, the person's fixing the road just have to be prepared to use it at that time, because it must be used hot, right? It must be used hot. So regardless of the time of day, whether peak hours, middle of the day, whatever, once they get it, they just have to use it, otherwise it will become useless, right? So, you know, I mean, I was usually one of those saying, why them doing this in the middle of the day, or why them doing this during peak hours? But if that's the time that they get the black thing to pave the road, then they just have to use it at that time. Why can't it be better organized? I don't know. So there are things that don't make sense to me or to us in Jamaica that I guess if we knew, or if we had a little bit more information, we would be a little bit more patient. But the government is very poor in communicating things as well, you know. So it just always feel like one of those kind of backward mentality operations in Jamaica that, boy, we really hope to grow past some of those things. Anyway, so I've spoken about the transportation, I've spoken about food prices, food, you know, and I'm endeavoring to grow my own because of just the crazy prices, even though I'm here competing with all sorts of pests, right? So like this morning I'm inspecting my tomatoes and holes, some big, I was going to some big holes, but like a hole like this or several of these holes in one tomato plant, and I don't know or see what is eating it. I can't. I say all those people begging for the caterpillars, you know, all are begging for the caterpillars then. Anyway, so now I have to go learn some new techniques now of putting mesh over the tomatoes to try and protect them from these critters. And I don't know how the mesh going to help, you know, because these caterpillars are vicious. I'm sure they will find a way to go through the mesh. And not only that, I realize that the butterflies, however it works, I don't know if they lay egg or whatever, but the caterpillars start on the produce once when they are small. So the caterpillars are very small. So if I put mesh on it and the caterpillar is very small and him stay there and eat out the thing until him get big, him already inside the mesh. So I don't even know. Anyway, I have a different video up about that. So if you know anything about protecting the tomatoes, please let me know. Right, because everything for me largely is planted in the ground, directly in the ground, so there's not much I can do in terms of protecting it except to probably try and cover them. Right, so here I am now, very busy, very busy because of work. Even though I am at home, December is a crazy busy period, I guess, not only in Jamaica, but I can't really say much about it in Japan, because in Japan my church was more on the docile side, or maybe not, you know, but their focused holidays were a little bit different from Jamaica's focused holidays. So like Christmas is big. Christmas is very big here in Jamaica. It's not so big in Japan at all. And then the church is partnered with an American church. I know in America Christmas is big, you know, but Thanksgiving is bigger. And so for Christmas, nothing really out of the way is had. While here in Jamaica, you have Christmas Day service at church, you have Christmas Sunday church, and they have Christmas Sunday school something, and all different kind of activities that are planned during the Christmas holiday. So there's no holiday really, and then, you know, you have the bag of cooking and the family visiting and the this and the that, and all I want to do is sleep and rest. In Japan I didn't have that. So yes, so my neighbor came, not to check if I was going mad, but to ask me if I wanted some grass cuttings that had really become so cured from sitting in the elements for a long time, so I can use it to enrich in the soil and that kind of thing. Yeah, so like I'm really tired. I'm tired from work, let me say. I'm tired from work, and because I had committed to going back on the choir when I returned from the States in September. I did that, but what I did not plan for, what I did not anticipate, was teaching 4 courses at the college this semester. And let me tell you that additional course, while it has given me extra I was going to say extra income, but it's not really extra income. It's just enough to cover my bills. While it has given me that amount to cover my bills, so I don't have to spend out of what I had saved, because most of that is depleted anyway. It really has taken a toll on me, along with me trying to keep up with choir practice, which I have not been able to do. Not only did I decide to go back on the choir, but then I decided to join a praise team, which that is almost like impossible. I have not been as committed as I usually am, because one, the transportation to get to my church, I have to take 2 taxis. And since I can't afford to take 2 taxis, I take one and walk the rest of the way, right? Now, it just is what it is, but I had prepared myself mentally to do this since September. But the frequency in December of choir practice and for special events and all that is too much. And I have just decided that I cannot expend myself in that way as I used to, right? In Japan, it wasn't so much church activities, but it was work, you know, because I was freelancing and I had particular objectives to meet and goals to accomplish. And so I was working a lot in Japan. I was working a lot. I was working that much so I could come back to my yard in Jamaica, right? But of course it took a toll on my health, and I have decided that I must prioritize my health because it's me alone. I live alone, and yeah, I just have to be, I don't want to be a burden to anyone, you know, on top of it. So I try my best to keep in good health, as it were, right? Because I also don't like going to the doctor. On top of that, I have no health insurance, which means everything is done out of pocket. And the truth is, I know that if I eat well, rest well, exercise, which I have not been doing, then I won't get sick, right? Because for me, going to the doctor is a last resort when there isn't, you know, like some kind of internal severe damage that really requires a doctor's attention. Because usually when I go to the doctor, it is because I am not resting, eating, or exercising, right? Or let me say eating properly. So, you know, and a lot of things that I used to do in Japan are happening now. I guess because it's kind of similar. Me working part-time means my hours are ad hoc. When I was working freelance in Japan, my hours were also very ad hoc. And so I did not have a set time where I would eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, you know, which I don't really like that. And sometimes I just don't eat at all. So yeah, I want that rectified. So there are a number of things I'm trying to rectify, including getting a vehicle to make things easier. I think that would help. That would help with my commitments and involvement, and really just give me a little bit more of a social life. I really don't have a social life. Worse now because of my immobility. Yeah, that's a word. Because it's just too difficult to get around, you know. Where I was living with my mom that time, it was close to the terminus. I just walk 7 minutes and get a bus or a taxi or whatever and get to where I'm going. Here now I have to walk 10 minutes, wait to get something to go into the town, and then get something from there to get to where I'm going. You know, so sometimes 2 or 3 different vehicles to get to my final destination. So it makes it a lot harder to want to go anywhere when I have such limited time. I can't be spending all of that time waiting on bus or taxi, you know. So I just can't bother. If I'm not getting a ride, I'm not going, and I don't want to be a burden to anyone. So I still have a lot more talking to do, you know, but this battery on this phone is telling me it's at 10% and it's critical, you know. So with all of that being said, I'm still settling into Jamaica, but I am a lot more advanced than I was in the first 6 months of being here. I have come to accept more things. I have come to accept some things, you know. You always hear it, you know, accept what you can't change and whatever. But now I am a little bit more at peace with what I cannot change, like legit cannot change, and you know, just the expectations and attitudes of people and so on. And yeah, I am grateful. I am grateful for where I am and for the way I have matured in my thinking and response and attitude to things that I cannot change. So yeah, so thanks for sticking this out with me for so long. I'm almost done picking all the sorrel, some 40 minutes later, um, which is probably good timing because my friend that wanted to experience picking the sorrel with her daughter should be coming here for about 12 o'clock, and it's now 11:43, so I'm actually waiting to hear from her to go and meet her at the main gate. Well, not the main gate, if you know what I'm talking about. Yes, so because I live in a gated community, so she can't come in until I go get her. Yeah, so that's it from me, Stacy, personally speaking. I think it was a good speaking moment for me. You know, can't talk about many other things, but I think it's a good time to end. So thank you so much for checking out this video, a very long one, just talking about things, you know, that I am learning and understanding, and have developed greater appreciation for. There is much more I could say, but I will leave that for another time when I am paying more attention and can probably give you a little bit more of a scenic view. So bye for now from Stacy, personally speaking. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year when it comes. I'll probably do a video just for that though. But God bless you.